Well, they watched Love's Labour's Lost, and it was the version that Kenneth Branagh did, where he had done this unusual thing of, you might know it, of putting 1930s musicals together with the Shakespearean play. Uh, a strange, bold rather thing to do, but not that many people know that music out of the 1930s anymore, and I guess he thought it was it it needed to be revived. Well, that's what I'm saying. But in any case, that's the one that they watched, and they watched it nonstop. I mean, they you know, a lot of times they'd pause. A Shakespearean play, for example, would be 5 acts usually, and that would be 4 pauses. Well, they watched the whole straight through the whole thing. And when they got to the end, they turned to Elaine, and because she seemed to be the one that was the best reviewer, they said, "Well, what do you think of that?" And Elaine said, "Phew, that was too rich for one viewing. I'm going to have to watch that movie again." The play and Shakespeare's words were great. It's kind of a silly story in a way, but you know, guys giving up on women so they can study philosophy, and that's kind of silly, don't you think, Gmaw? And Gmaw said, "Yeah, I agree. That's kind of a silly story, but it's meant to be silly." But then there's that music, all those songs. I've never heard any of them. Have you, Gmaw? And Gmaw said, or Violet said, a little bit, Dancing Cheek to Cheek. I remember that song, but they were really before my time. Even my father probably knew him when he was younger, but well, Elaine said, "You know how I am with music and songs, and they got my attention." So it kind of overpowered the language, and she said, or it was Violet actually that said, "Do you think, Lance, what that character Barone said about a woman's eye and a woman's face, the beauty of it being that powerful?" And Lance said, "Yes, I actually do." And then Elaine said, "Boy, right there at the end, wasn't that something that, or was it Rosalind laid on Barone, that for the year he was going to have to make people that were sick and suffering and dying in hospitals, make them laugh with his wit, because he's so funny and he's so clever and all that." That's a pretty heavy thought. Well, anyway, they talked more about it, but it was like Elaine had said, it was just all too much, really. She said she planned to get a copy of that and read it so that she could, you know, not just be overpowered by the music. So it was a success, and that was their last Shakespearean play that they watched together. But before they went to bed, Violet said to Lance, I've got something I'd like to ask you about. It's Wedge. I never thought I was going to hear about him or from him again until you arrived. And I don't expect that I ever will again after you leave. And so I just like to know really one thing. His ideas, his morality. Do you think people will ever understand what he thinks? And Lance said, "Well, what are the odds?" said Violet. And Lance said, "Within his lifetime, probably 50-50, or maybe that much, or not that much. But things have changed. It depends how long he lives. And things have changed so fast. I mean, now people, they know about Gaia and Mother Earth and the environment and global warming. People know about that now. And so it's changing very fast, but within his lifetime, I don't know. But eventually, 100%, they'll understand. Well, Violet said, I guess that's good. Anyway, I'm going to bed. I'm tired. I'll see you in the morning, and we'll send you off. And Lance and Elaine also went to bed. And Lance, as he was laying in bed, starting to fall asleep, once again, as before, he heard singing, and he heard Elaine singing what sounded like a rather sad song, and it was to the music of she was singing along with the Mandili trio to the accompaniment of a panduri, and at that Lance smiled.